Welcome to Max's Models. I'm Max. Hey, Glue Troopers. I was going to get to work on the Hasegawa City of Jacksonville F-106, but then I realized we got the Navy jet build coming up. I need to get cracking on that. So I went out to the Tarbis and I grabbed 3 jets. A couple are just insurance builds and then the one I'd like to do. I got that bag Revell S kit of A4. And I got the Atlantis P6M Seamaster, and then I've got this Da Nang F4 from Eduard. That's the one I really want to do, but it's a very involved kit. I'll be going through it in the coming days, hopefully, and talking about it. But I figured I'd get a couple of quick insurance builds done. For example, this A4, which is an S kit, it's very straightforward. It's almost a day build. And I went ahead and got started on it. First thing, I don't have very many paints here in the office. I wanted to work in the house today just because the air conditioning in here is good. The air conditioning in the shed is hot it's been, even with that sitting by the unit, and it struggles. So I laid everything out, and, it's exactly what you expect from a 1958 vintage kit. The pilot figure and everything goes in, has these large pegs. I mean, there's no way you could put it together wrong. I love the simplicity of it. And, I did some test fitting. Now, these, of course, are from the 50s, so they have the emboss where the decals go. There are no decals or weapons with it except for just the centerline drop tank. So I'm like, yeah, no big deal. I actually got enough spares, and if not, I'll just buy something online. But I'm sure I have enough spares to decal it. And it's really well engineered. In fact, everything you see here is just being friction fit into place, basically just snapped into place. The model has, like I said, has a centerline tank. I think the pilot might be a little small. I'm not really sure, but it's okay. It's no big deal. So I painted up the pilot figure with the paints that I have, which is good enough. You're not going to be able to see that much. A4 has such a tiny cockpit. And test fit and everything. It's unusual. The nose gear actually goes back into this hole underneath the nose of the drop tank, which is weird. And I did not expect that, but okay. There's a little bit of flash. You definitely going to have to do some etching and fitting, but it's really well engineered. One thing they did is they made it where the parts could only go in one way, so you can't really get it backwards. So I got the fuselage together, and then I realized, look, I need to go paint this thing. Everything was dry fitted and stuff, so the flash was cleaned off of it. So great, it's going out to the Tarbis, and I'll get to it there. The next thing to start cleaning up was the Seamaster. Now, this one I'm going to do a proper unboxing on. This, of course, is an Atlantis repop of an old Revell kit. And I've always thought the Seamaster was such a cool airplane. And for those who don't know, this is an actual float plane. It does not have wheels. It can only operate off the water. When you see them up on land, they're up on these dollies and sponsons that they wheel them in with. The kit, of course, comes in a plastic bag. You have your instruction sheet. Very simple instruction sheet. 1 page, 3 panes. And the kit only has, what did I count? I think it's 18 parts in this kit, not including the stand. And, of course, you have to put it on the stand. Although this would be a perfect kit if you want to hang one from the ceiling because it doesn't even have an option for wheels. So I'm going to put it on the stand. The kit, unfortunately, did have a pretty good amount of flash on it. But then again, this is a very old mold that Atlantis is using. And kind of an unusual choice of blue there. But, no worries. The stand is a standard Atlantis stand. Went together without any argument. And it has a very nice decal sheet. There's 2 basic color patterns, basically solid blue with a white underbelly or the white and gray. And a lot of people do the blue just probably because it's simpler. A lot of people think it looks better. Part of me is partial to the gray and white, but I really won't make my mind up till I get it out to the paint booth. It does give you decals for both color patterns, though. So you have the navy and markings in white and in black, which is really cool. If you're someone who's building this thing and not painting it, of course, you're going to use the white lettering and the blue paint scheme layout, even if it's the wrong shade of blue. Also, again, being an old mold, this one has the embossed markings on it. Once I got all the flash off of it, I started pre-fitting stuff. And that became a bit of a challenge because, how can I say this? It's definitely not the $1 million fit. And there are some pretty major gaps and stuff. And this is a pretty common thing to kits from the 50s. So they done what they can do with what they got. That said, though, I still think it's one of the coolest looking jets, back when the Navy thought they might be putting, all their jets out on the water instead of on carriers, because aircraft carriers are vulnerable. But if we use, jets that can take off and land from the water, then, we can set an airbase up anywhere there's water. And it was a thing that they played with. And the airplane was actually pretty impressive. It's one of those things that they built a few of them, they flew them, they tested them. Unfortunately, they had some fatal accidents, which are pretty normal for test programs back then, I'm sorry to say. But still, it's a pretty straightforward, simple build. You can clean it up into a really pretty model, which is what I'd like to do. And then looked at the Eduard F4 Phantom. I'm like, yeah, that's going to be done after these two are complete. So at least I know I have something to submit, because I don't know if I'm going to get it done on time. I got stuff going on this weekend, so I need to get all the modeling I can get done before the weekend, because once I get back, I'll be busy. Busy. So that's the way it is in the Maxis Models modeling world today. You guys take care of yourself, and as always, model on. Hey guys, quick note. I found some archival footage of the P6M, and the one that comes with the kit, I believe, is the earlier version, because the intakes are parallel to the leading edge of the wing. And apparently this one that you see going in the water, they'd moved the intakes back a little bit. They weren't parallel anymore to avoid sea spray ingestion. And so I think the kit model is one of the earlier ones. And also the you see there that the wings are, the intakes are further back than are on the kit, so denoting a later model. Also later, they canted the engines out because these things had afterburners. They had to use the afterburner to take off, because apparently the early models were underpowered. Later on, when they got the J75s, they didn't have to use the afterburner for takeoff anymore. We're talking about a 4-engine afterburning jet, so, shades of the B-58 Hustler there. This thing had a lot of potential. It came close to going into production, but budget cuts, etc. Kind of a pity, one of those great could-have-beens, because I just think it's a really wizard airplane. I'll run the rest of the footage just so you can watch it, and I'll put a link online so you can see the original narration. Okay, guys, take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.